Hey guys, here with another new video. I'm just gonna kind of run through my ideas about the Commander Precon Legendaries from the new set, new Capenna. Just kind of give my thoughts on how I feel that they are, what they do. Maybe just highlight some people that maybe you guys are interested in. Kind of give you my take on it. So I'll just run down and start talking about them. The first one is, and also just so you guys know, I'm notorious for bad pronunciations, so get ready because they all have some pretty interesting names. uh, on Nalo, the painter is blue, black, red, so it's a Grixis legendary. Legendary creature, Vampire Assassin, which is pretty interesting. It's a 1/3 with Death Touch. The first instant or sorcery spell you cast each turn has Casualty 2, which Casualty is a new keyword out of the new set. It is as long as you cast this spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 2 or greater. When you do, copy the spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. So most of these I haven't really looked at or looked too much into. My first thought with this is there's plenty of, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, create token type things, like Toleron. Um, so that seems like that could help this out a lot. I mean, really all you need is to get out some 2/2s or even 2 whatevers and then start probably copying extra turn spells. Um, I mean, just sacking a creature, you're going to get 2 extra turns on the average extra turn spell. That's can get pretty out of hand, especially if you're able to kind of chain those together and get 5 or 6 turns in a row. It's going to be pretty easy for you to set up with a win after that. I'm not surprised to see that he's the most popular commander right now. I don't see that really changing, to be honest. Plus, got some pretty cool artwork on there. Second one is Henzi Toolbox Toro. Black, red, green, legendary creature, Devil Rogue, 3/3. Each creature spell you cast with mana value 4 or greater has Blitz. Its Blitz cost is equal to its mana cost. So Blitz is, you may choose to cast that spell for its Blitz cost. If you do, it gains haste, and when this creature dies, draw a card. Sacrifice it at the beginning of the next end step. And Blitz cost you pay costs 1 less for each time you've cast your commander from the command zone. Let's see, cast mana value 4 or greater, equal to its mana cost. So it's pretty interesting. I have a black-red Olivia deck that kind of brings out creatures and they have haste and changes them into vampires, so it's a little bit similar to this. I mean, if you're doing a sacrifice deck just in general, this seems like a good card in the 99, just allowing you to throw out things for the Blitz cost. If you have big creatures that you want to throw out and give haste, this seems really nice. Plus, you get to draw a card after it dies. I mean, it seems like a really good commander. I'm a little torn on what direction you would go other than just a generic sacrifice build, but I mean, it is a devil. You could go kind of a devil theme, which works well with sacrifice. It's pretty interesting. I doubt I'll build it, but it's pretty interesting. Third, we have Tivet, Seller of Secrets. It's 3 colorless, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black. Legendary creature, Sphinx Rogue. That thing straight up just has a human face and a nice mustache, which is pretty cool. It's a flying. It has Ward 3, which means you have to pay 3 more to target it. And it's a 6/6. So it's got Council's Dilemma. Whenever Tevet enters the battlefield or deals combat damage to a player, starting with you, each player votes for evidence or bribery. For each evidence vote, investigate. For each bribery vote, create a treasure token. While voting, you may vote an additional time. So this seems like a pretty typical throw in all the voting that you can. I imagine the other people, when you go to vote with this commander, are going to vote evidence because I'd rather give 3 clues to somebody than 3 extra treasures. But you get to vote an additional time, so I imagine you're probably going to try to get this guy out as fast as you can. you're going to choose to make the treasure tokens and try to play some other extra turn spells and go through those. I mean, not extra turns, voting spells. I'm not too familiar with a lot of the voting spells, other than Expropriate, I've seen a few times. I'm sure that there are some other ones that are really good, but I mean, Expropriate instantly is just going to give you 2 extra turns if you want, so that's going to be really nice. And then who knows what the people are going to do in response to that, if they're going to give you things or if they're going to allow you to have more turns on top of that. But I imagine that there's some other good ones in these colors that would help out. That's interesting. I like it. I don't know how good it would be. It's obviously not going to see any CEDH play, but I do like janky commanders that have interesting abilities. So that's pretty cool. The fourth one, this is one that I did happen to see ahead of time. This is one that I thought was pretty interesting. The Beamtown Bullies. 1 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, 1 green. It's a legendary creature, Ogre Devil Warrior. 4/4 vigilance and haste. Now the interesting part is you could tap him, and target opponent whose turn it is puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under their control. It gains haste, goad it, and at the beginning of the next end step, exile it. So the thing I thought was pretty cool with this is obviously there are just big creatures in this color in this color frame that you could just give to people. So even giving someone like Drakusith is going to really hurt your... Well, I don't know if you want to give Drakusith because they could aim the damage at you. But there's plenty of big demons and other things that you would love to give to your opponents because it means that someone else is going to get smacked with it. But I saw there was some other interesting ones. There's a creature that makes it so you can only block with 1 creature per combat, and you can only attack with 1 creature per combat. If someone's playing a token-heavy deck, throwing that on their board right before combat is going to severely slow them down if they are going to look for a win. Especially if someone slaps down a Crater Hoof, you could instantly throw that out and shut down their whole game plan. There's things like Leveler and a couple other creatures that you throw out there that are going to wipe their whole board, make them skip turns, lose half their life. So I think this one's pretty interesting. I'm not sure how it would be once you get down to just you and one other person, because goading doesn't work if there's only one other opponent. But I think it'd be pretty interesting to throw at the table and just see what happens. So we'll go down here. The fourth one's Kamiz Obscure Oculus. I believe this is the Esper Precon commander. Whenever you attack, it's a 1 colorless, 1 white, 1 blue, 1 black, target creature or legendary creature, Cephalid Rogue, which cephalids aren't very popular. 2/4. Whenever you attack, target attacking creature can't be blocked this turn. It connives, then choose another target attacking creature with lesser power. That creature gains double strike until the end of turn. Conniving is you draw a card and then discard a card. If you discard an non-land card, put a +1/+1 counter on target on that creature. So it's pretty interesting. You can make a creature unblockable and give another creature double strike. If you have some whenever they deal damage type things, that seems really good. Just being able to get through with unblockable creatures is nice. I imagine you'd probably throw in some ninjutsu just to be able to swing with an unblockable creature and then switch it out with something a little better. It seems like an interesting commander. I bought this precon, but I bought it to switch out with one of the other cards that I already did a video for on my channel if you want to check it out. But I might end up leaving this card in there. I think I did in the video, so we'll see how that is. Vazi Keen Navigator. Negotiator, not even close. 2 colorless, black, red, green. Legendary creature, Human Advisor, 3/3. It has haste. You tap it, and target opponent creates X treasure tokens, where X is the number of treasure tokens you created this turn. Alright. Whenever an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it or activate it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then draw a card. So it is kind of an interesting commander. I'm not a big fan of giving a ton of treasures to my opponents. Usually that doesn't help out. Yeah, you get a draw off of it and put a +1/+1 counter, but I don't see this commander being very popular. I think that it's okay at best. I don't even know if I would include this in a treasure deck that fits this color scheme, but I could be wrong. Next is Marie the Killing Quill. One colorless black, legendary creature, vampire assassin, 3/2. Whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it with a hit counter on it. I am a big fan of stuff like this, so this seems pretty cool. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns in exile. If you do, draw a card and create 2 treasure tokens. It seems like a pretty good commander. It seems interesting. I like that it works around 3 different creature types, so you can kind of build around that as you would like. It also works with the unblockable type stuff. It gives them death touch, which is cool because it's going to be less likely that those creatures get blocked anyway. And you get to ramp and draw a card off of it. It seems like it's good, but not really doing anything super interesting. In the mono black section, there's a lot of more interesting commanders, in my opinion, that seem like they could do more. I don't see this one being very popular, but it might be better off in the 99 of some decks. Cyrix, Carrier of the Flame, 2 colorless black-red, legendary creature, Phoenix, 3/3, flying haste. At the beginning of each end step, if a creature card left your graveyard this turn, target Phoenix you control deals damage equal to its power to any target. That seems really good. Whenever another Phoenix you control dies, you may cast your commander from your graveyard. Okay. In the 99, obviously, it would be Cyrix, Carrier of the Flames from your graveyard. But I like this. You could throw your commander into the graveyard to be able to cast it, getting around commander attacks. Phoenix are a really interesting creature type to begin with. They're very replayable and very hard to deal with unless you just have a good amount of graveyard hate. I like that if a creature card left your graveyard this turn, so you could do many other ways and many other things that don't involve actually bringing it to the battlefield, because it just says if it left your graveyard this turn. So I'm sure there's some really good cards to go with that. And then target Phoenix you control deals damage equal to its power to any target is really nice. If you're able to buff up some of your Phoenixes or get them a lot of power, maybe you put in doubling damage things. You could do any target. That seems really, really good. Plus, they're all flyers, so that's going to help out and help you get some damage through. I might end up building this commander. I actually think that's pretty interesting. It does something unique. I'm a big fan of tribal commanders that work around things that aren't super popular, so I might end up trying that. Kroos Defense Contractor, colorless, green, white, blue, legendary creature, cat advisor, 2/4. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a shield counter on target creature an opponent controls, which is next time it would be dealt damage or killed, you remove the shield counter from it. I'm pretty sure. I know that there's some other cards in here that should say that, so if I'm wrong on that, I apologize. Whenever you put one or more counters on target creature you don't control, tap that creature and goad it. It gains trample until the end of turn. Again, like the other, the Beamtown Bullies, it seems like one of those things you're really going to help out the other people at the table, but this actually reminds me a little bit more of Vazi, because Vazi is going to be giving treasure. It's really going to be helping ramp your opponents. I'm not really sure what you're going to do with Kroos, though. You're going to be giving your opponents shield counters, +1 counters, different things like that. They're going to get a big buffed board. Yeah, they're going to wipe out the opponents, but I don't really know what you're going to do after that. I don't see this commander being super popular. I'm a little surprised it has 88 decks. I mean, this set just came out not too long ago, but that seems to be popular than a lot more of these commanders below it, so I guess we'll see what these other ones got going on then. Kit Kanto Mayhem Devo, colorless, red, green, white, legendary creature, cat, bird, druid. Wow, that's pretty cool. 3/3. Whenever it enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 green and white citizen creature token. At the beginning of combat on each player's turn, you may tap 2 untapped creatures you control. When you do, target creature that player controls gets +2/+2 and gains trample until the end of turn. Goad that creature. Okay, so similar to the other ones where it's kind of helping out your opponents, but it's also, or it's helping your one opponent, but it's also hurting your other ones. This one seems a little more playable to me because you're going to tap 2 creatures you control when you do target creature you control. That player controls gets +2/+2. Maybe not so much actually. Yeah, comment each player's turn. So you're going to play a token strategy, I imagine, and you're going to be tapping down your board to tap other people or to give other creatures +2/+2 goad and trample. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I don't fit into a strategy like this. I just find a lot of decks like this to be kind of slow, monotonous, and even when they are fun, I imagine you get down to the final 2 people and you're hoping that your tokens overwhelm the other person. But by helping him out, getting him big buffed creatures, there's a good chance that he's going to be far beyond you at that point. I just don't see this commander being super popular. Obviously, a lot of these aren't very CEDH popular commanders, so I don't see this being anywhere there, obviously. Benny Brock's Zoologist, 3 colorless, white. Legendary creature, Elf Druid, 3/2. It has Convoke, so you can tap creatures to help pay for that colorless. At the beginning of each end step, if you create a token this turn, draw a card. That seems like a pretty good commander to me. You can Convoke it, so if you're creating tokens and doing stuff in the 99, this is going to be easy to throw out. As a commander, you could do mono white weenie tokens. You're going to have a commander that's going to get you a draw. Important to note, it says at the beginning of each end step. So if you have ways of creating tokens on opponents' turns, you're also going to be drawing on opponents' turns. So, I mean, a mono white draw engine in the command zone seems really good. And there's plenty of ways to be able to create tokens at instant speed, and then all you need is a big buff spell to be able to overwhelm your opponents. There's plenty of protection, indestructible, things like Teferi's protection and other things that can protect your board. So I could actually see this being pretty popular. The only downside is I don't think it really does anything super interesting. It's just a mono white token build. So I'm not sure how popular this will be as a commander in the long run, but this does seem really, really good in the 99 of a lot of token decks. Jolween, the Plunder Queen. 2 colorless, red-green, legendary creature, human warrior, 2/2. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, that attacking player creates a treasure. If you would create one or more treasure tokens, instead, create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Sacrifice 5 treasure tokens, put 5 +1/+1 counters on Jolween. So that's pretty interesting. You're going to be giving your opponents treasure tokens, which isn't great, but you're going to be creating twice as many, and you could use those to pump up Jolween. It seems like there's some interesting Voltron type strategy there, maybe giving her trample, swinging in, dealing some big damage after putting 5 +1/+1 counters on her. You could do it at instant speed, which is really nice, so you could always swing at someone, maybe they go to block, okay, well I'm going to give a trample, double strike, something like that, put some counters on it. It seems interesting. I doubt that it'll be super popular because there's already a lot of this in Gruul, so I don't think that this is super unique, but it seems interesting as a commander. Probably not too popular in the 99, I imagine. Perry, the Pulverizer. 1 colorless, green, white, blue. When it enters the battlefield, put a shield counter on target creature. There you go. If it would be dealt damage or destroyed, remove a shield counter from it instead. Whenever Perry attacks, target creature you control gains trample and gets +X/+X until the end of turn, where X is the number of different kinds of counters amongst permanents you control. It seems pretty decent as a commander. I'm a little surprised to see this one as low. It just says different kinds of counters, so there's a lot of different counters in Bant colors especially that you could throw on creatures and really help out. Not to mention that you're going to give it trample. A little surprised, honestly, to see it this low. I could see you buffing up a big creature, go into combat, attack with your commander, buff up something that could swing through and kill somebody. You could easily do enchantments if you would like. I guess maybe it's just because there's better commanders in this color scheme that could do that. The shield counters seem kind of interesting. It's nice that it protects against a board wipe. Not so nice that if damage is dealt to it, you have to remove it. But I don't see a lot of big damage spells that are widely popular, at least in my meta and playing at my local card shop, other than the obvious ones like Blast Act. Is that it? Yeah, Blasphemous Act. And then we'll move on to Oscar, Rubbish Reclaimer. 3 colorless, blue, black, legendary creature, human wizard, 3/3. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each different mana value amongst cards in your graveyard. Whenever you discard a non-land card, you may cast it from your graveyard. So I have a black-blue zombie deck with Ghost and Tormod. So this seems like this would be pretty good in the 99 of that deck, and maybe in a lot of other ones. It seems like it'd be easy to lower the cost of this, and being able to discard a card and then cast it from your graveyard seems really nice. It doesn't seem that good as a commander. It costs 5 to start with, but I don't know. Black-blue has so many good commanders that already do unique and interesting things. That's probably why this one's lower, because this one could be really good in the 99 and really help out all those other decks that already exist. So, I don't know. This seems pretty cool. I like it. Like I said, it'll be in my zombie deck. I'll have to let you guys know how that goes. Next is Best Soul Nourisher. Colorless green-white, legendary creature, human citizen, 1/1. Whenever one or more other creatures with base power, toughness 1 or 1 enter the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Bess. Whenever Bess attacks, each other creature you control with base power and toughness 1/1 gets +X/+X, where X is the number of 1/1 counters on Bess. Wow, that seems pretty awesome. I like that you have to work around the creatures being 1/1s. And then it also works based off the number of +1/+1 counters on Bess. So this seems really nice to be able to have hardened scales and other things like that to double up on the counters. Green-white is already really good at that, and green-white can easily throw out a ton of tokens. I'm pretty shocked this is 46th. I guess maybe people were just more focused on the better commanders in this set. Again, this is not something I would see a lot of play in CEDH, but I could see this being a pretty good high-power commander. I have a Pauper commander that's, I can't remember his name, he's a Rhino, but he does a similar thing by putting 2 +1/+1 counters on the creature if it's a 1/1. So, I don't know, I might end up trying this out. I like this commander. I think that that's pretty cool. Not to mention that you're going to be buffing all your other tokens, and there's plenty of ways to give anthem effects and different things like Crater Hoof to help and close out the game. Next is Fabine, Boss's Confidant. 3 colorless, red, green, white, legendary creature, Cat Advisor, 3/6. Creature tokens you control have haste. That part's pretty nice. And has Parlay. At the beginning of combat on your turn, each player reveals the top card of their library. For each land card revealed this way, you get to create a 1/1 green-white citizen creature token. Then, creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn for each non-land card revealed this way. Then, each player draws this card. I'm not surprised to see this one low. It's nice that creature tokens give haste, but a 6-drop commander, its parlay ability seems pretty interesting. I like that it gives you the anthem effect, but again, I'm not a big fan of helping everyone else out at the table. I don't see this commander being very popular. I think it's not that good. It's kind of cool that it's a Cat Advisor, though, I suppose. And we're down to the last 2 now. Dionnequin, Editor-in-Chief. 2 colorless, white, blue. Legendary creature, Cat Advisor. We got a lot of those in this set, huh? It's a 2/2. And when it enters the battlefield, enters with your choice of +1/+1 counter, first strike counter, or vigilance counter. Okay. Whenever a non-token creature you control enters the battlefield, if he has a counter on it, you put the same number of counters on that creature. Okay, so it seems a little high costs for that kind of strategy. You're paying 4 to get your commander out. You're getting 1 counter on it, so either +1/+1 counter, maybe the first strike. I don't see the vigilance being too helpful, but it could matter. And then every non-token creature you play is going to get all of those. Well, there's the shield counters in this set and other counters that you could put on creatures that would be pretty cool. There's white in it, so you could always have Broodmoth and other things. I believe Broodmoth comes back with a flying counter, but I might be wrong on that. I just don't think it's that good. You're going to play some creatures that are going to get some counters on them, but I don't think it's really going to lead to you doing anything. Plus, in white-blue, there's a million other commanders that are going to be in front of this guy. This guy's really going to get buried down, but I kind of like his ability to put counters on things. Maybe people will come around and try and come up with some interesting decks for him. I'd be interested to see what he can do, because it's kind of a Voltron, but throwing everything onto your other creatures type strategy, which is interesting. And last but not least, oh wow, not going to be able to pronounce this. Parnisi the Subtle Brush. 2 colorless, blue, black, red, legendary creature, vampire, wizard, 4/4. Whenever you or a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or an ability an opponent's controls, you counter that spell or ability unless that player pays 4 life. Whenever you copy a spell, up to 1 target opponent may also copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. So it's interesting, I guess. It's going to incentivize people to pay life if they want to interact with your stuff, which seems decent. But for 5 mana, and you give your opponents a copy of the spell, I could definitely see why this is the lowest of the low in the Precon commanders. Everything up here has at least something interesting going on, and or seems like a powerhouse of a commander. Not so much with this one, but seems like there's interesting stuff going on with these commanders versus this one. This is just, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you were going for a group hug strategy of letting people copy the spells, it might be fun for you, but it's not quite a strategy I see a lot of people playing, nor is it one that I'm really interested in. So I imagine this one will stay at the bottom until the end of time. But anyway, that's all the Precon commanders. Let me know what you guys think, what Precon you bought, or just kind of your thoughts on some of these commanders. I'm really giving my raw ideas just looking at these commanders pretty much for the first time, so there's a good chance that I'm passing up on some good synergies and different strategies throughout these commanders. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys on the next video.